I was someone who was a scroller at night. I would scroll and YouTube shorts. And one of the biggest, I would say, shifts has just been literally taking my phone out of the bedroom. I don't even charge it in the room anymore. When you go on your Instagram, what do you see? You see Ferraris, Lambos, you see this part, you see big chains, you see all of these things. And at some point, subconsciously, that can affect the way you're looking at, like, man, I'm not doing enough. You know, anyone could be influenced by what's out there. The way that the algorithms are now working is before, you know, you would follow somebody and then you would start to see their content. Now they're bringing the content to you based on your personality. It's getting so sharp, it's almost like a casino game. How can I keep this person on our platform for as long as possible? Open it out of habit. Now you're there 15 minutes. That just affected your mood. Damn, I didn't even realize that this is starting to have power and control over how I'm behaving.
Hey, so we're here with my man, Joseph Rivera. He is the founder of MoreLife Biohacking Summit. You got something coming up this weekend, October 11th and 12th. Big names. You got Gary Brecka keynoting the dang thing. You got Lara Trump coming in, which is actually her birthday this weekend. And then, of course, who could forget Hall of Fame, Tito Ortiz, man.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it.
No, absolutely. It's definitely, you know, one of those things where, you know, I'm sure you've heard thought becomes things, right? And this was planted in my mind beginning of the year, specifically with the lineup, but from, you know, just all of the things that's taken place. I think we're in a time right now where there's no more gatekeeping, right? You give an example like social media, you give an example like podcasts, which you have here. You know, before it was 3 channels. If you listen to our parents, right, they had to turn it and they only had access to what was being shown. And, you know, we're living in a time where everything is at our hands. It's, you know, it's something where we can start to take our lives, our health, and the information that we're receiving back into our own hands. And the purpose of the summit, you know, we're partnered with quite a few exhibitors, and these are companies, you know, you got to think about it. They spend years researching, developing, trying to get FDA approval, and they're able to actually showcase these products. So aside from the speakers, we're really focused on the expo. That's 90% of this agenda.
There's 50 plus vendors there.
It's 50 plus.
That's a lot.
It's massive. Well, it's at the convention center. So, you know, we're not playing around in terms of, you know, a hotel or anything like that, where it's, you know, you got to go up multiple stairs or something. One open floor plan. And I think, you know, for most people that are going to be coming, it's an opportunity for them to try these products. You know, a lot of these are high ticket. So there's some beds and companies that 100, 150,000 plus, where they're able to come and try that product for free, right? Being at the event with our speakers. And then obviously the lineup for us, it's, you know, it's personal. Someone like a Tito, who's a legend, 20-year plus Hall of Famer, fighting at the highest level in a ring. You know, what does that person do for mindset before the stage, his health, his recovery, the things that he does at a high level. And then, you know, obviously Lara Trump, you know, she's become somewhat of a friend, but she speaks to, you know, motherhood, right? Performing in the, you know, public eye, being someone that, you know, is a part of probably the most notable name on the planet. What are those, you know, moments look like for her, and what does she utilize? Also from a health perspective. And then Mr. Gary Brecka. Do you know Gary? I think there was a little bit there.
Yeah, there's a little bit there. We're starting to communicate on possibly doing something at the beginning of the year together. And yeah, it'd be fun, man. It'd be fun. I'm excited for it. So
that's awesome.
We're just waiting for a schedule to open up. Pretty jacked up about it.
Oh yeah.
But there's another guy that's, you know, done a great job in just talking about what he believes in the biohacking space. I think there's many ways to skin a cat, but I think what's so intriguing about your summit, and then also, I mean, Tito Ortiz is one of the early adopters in biohacking. And no one knew what it was, but we live in a time where there's so much misdirection. There's so much confusion on what is actually healthy, and how does a father, a mother, right? How do they become the healthiest version of themselves? And again, like I said, there's a lot of misdirection. So how do you speak to that, man? Because for me, you know, there's many ways that you can look great, feel great, but is it actually the healthiest for you?
No, I love that. And I think one of the biggest things that, you know, I'm glad you asked that question. You know, I don't consider myself an expert in this space. I'm more of an explorer, right? So I got intrigued from this place on a personal level where, you know, chasing success, I found was something that overrided my personal well-being, from a just mindset perspective, what I'm consuming, and then also, you know, just not a healthy lifestyle. So for me, this has been more of a exploration to try to find those exact things. So we have something called, and I'm going to give it to you a little bit, our biohacking dictionary.
Oh, no way, man.
Yes, because you're making a great point. There are so many terms out there. How do I know what works and what is what when I hear these terms? That's something, it's not like a novel where you're reading through and trying to get to the end of the story. It's a handbook. So the idea when our team was designing it, I said, I want something that's at the kitchen table, the kitchen counter of every home in the US, right? Where people can go back to it. Me and my girl did a purge recently in our kitchen cabinet. We went through, we started to search through each product that we had, went through the ingredients and just started to purge. Spent the full weekend doing that.
Dude, my wife did that, man. She was throwing all this stuff out. My kids were like, whoa, what are you doing? She goes, well, this has this ingredient in it. This has this. And what people don't realize, everything in the pantry typically is designed to keep you hungry so you eat more of it, right? Very unhealthy.
Yeah.
So that's cool that you guys did that. And I want to touch on something. I want to edify you real quick, because for those of you that are listening, is, you know, when you chase success and you're looking to achieve some type of big thing, the first thing that always goes by the wayside is ourselves, our health, our mind, our bodies. And so, like you mentioned some of your personal struggles before we started recording. There was a time where I got so locked into doing this that I stopped going to the gym. I stopped watching what I was eating. And I had this show on determination and discipline, but I was 238 pounds and 31% body fat.
Wow.
I'm like, man, why can't I get to the next level? What's the thing? And for me, it was like, dude, you've let go of the one thing that's your prison. That was my binge eating. That was my weight, stuff that I struggled with my whole life. The moment I cleaned that up, everything kind of opened wide open for me. And so I just want to say that most high-level people always get lost in this chase and this pursuit of success. If you even look at Andy Frisella from First Form, he's been very well documented that when he became the MF CEO of First Form and building that brand, he got super fat. He was so unhealthy. And now look at the guy. He's like 260 pounds of twisted steel, because he figured out, like, if I'm going to build this brand, I have to be that dude. And so again, it's like one of those checkpoints for that. I just want to challenge you on is like, look at that as just a checkpoint, a part of the journey. And as long as you go through and rectify it, you have no idea the doors that are going to open, man. Hey, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our Powered By sponsor. We're proud to announce a partnership between White Sands Treatment Centers and the Determined Society. With multiple locations across Florida, White Sands provides luxury, top-rated addiction treatment, from medical detox and inpatient care to outpatient support and long-term aftercare. Their resort-style campuses, expert clinicians, and holistic programs create real, lasting recovery. Together, we're committed to bringing hope, resources, and healing to those who need it most. White Sands Treatment Centers.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. I think it's one of those things where, you know, you look at priorities, right? And I think for most people, especially now, there's, you know, nothing but distractions out there. What is this person doing? How is this person look? What is, you know, all of these things. And, you know, your biggest, I say, focus comes from whatever your identity is. So when you lose your identity, which, you know, you hear people, that's why, you know, for me, I look at it even from the people that you're around, right? If you're around people that, and your inner circle and your crew, if it's a couple of men, but those men, let's say, have insecurities and, you know, they're people pleasers. For me, I always looked at that as a liability, right? So in terms of keeping your circle tight, because what's going to happen if I'm in a situation and it's like, all right, I need this person to back me up. Yeah. Or I need this person that I know is, you know, has the balls, right? For me, that was always something to keep an eye on. But who you're around and what your focus is going to determine, pretty much everything else in your life, right? That circle. I love it said, I don't know who says it, but who you speak to before you go to bed determines a big part of, and if it's a spouse, if it's your kids, a mentor, those things are really important. So, I mean, for me, I've been on this journey for 8 months now, and, the gym, the walking, the eating healthy, getting back to the things that I know when I'm in top shape, everything else, starts to reflect that.
It's interesting because it's a process, right? And you don't want to rush it. You want to make sure that you're taking action every single day towards that outcome that you desire. And it's all about action, right? You can sit there and wish and dream all you want, but if you're not taking action, it becomes a lie. The thing that I love most about when you're talking about the Biohacking Summit, the cool part is this is also going to be another piece, even for you. What are you looking forward to most outside of the amazing speakers and the buzz all around it? For you specifically, what are you looking forward to?
I think for me, it's more of the community aspect, right? I think, for me, I get value when others get value, right? And being able to provide this information, everything that our team has been working on, it's really making a difference. I'm not one of these people that, because of a title or because of wherever I am, I'm not going to pick up the phone and call somebody that was interested in the event, right? So I'm on the phone with people that are going to be attending, speaking to them. Hey, I had questions. Okay, my team didn't get to you. Let me speak to you. I'm actually the organizer of the summit. So for me, doing that needs analysis and understanding what's their pain point, it's like, oh, I'm so excited for you because, hey, there's going to be practitioners there. There's going to be Gary Brecka's longevity session. You're going to ask a direct question. The community, right? Being able to shake a hand, and now that exposes you to more information where you can decide for yourself, hey, this is a direction I want to take. There was one woman I spoke to in Orlando, and, she was like, hey, I'm not going for me, but my sister was just diagnosed with cancer. And I'm trying to find remedies because they keep taking her to chemo and all of these things. But I started to get heavy into this space. So maybe it's not a direct impact. Maybe it's a family health scare. Maybe it is your personal. Maybe you're looking to say, hey, I've always had a dream to build a med spa and I just got my license, but I want to learn about the products and these things. So I'm really excited for people to actually get the value and to leave away from the event saying, okay, I do want to get more out of life.
I love that. In your communications with the community, right? You had the one woman that talked about her sister was diagnosed with cancer. And then potentially some med spa owners that are new. What are some other pain points that you've heard from the community?
I think for most people, when you think about going to an event and you think about spending 2 days, you have to think about it. That's 2 days away from your family. That's 2 days away from your business if you're running a business. That's 2 days away from your routine. Some people are flying in from LA, from New York, Chicago, right? From all over the country. So for us, it's important to also make sure that those people are leaving with something that they can actually implicate, right? Not just, buzzwords around, not just hearing the great things, but how can I put this into practice?
That's important, Joseph, because a lot of times when you go to like motivational seminars or a sales, summit or whatever it is, you're sitting there in that room and you're super motivated, you're driven, but when you get home, you don't know how to implement anything. So it's nice to hear that there's going to be some real, some real action at this thing where people can take this home and, potentially purchase the biohacking dictionary to understand.
Oh no, everyone's getting it.
Oh, no way. So you're giving, everyone, oh wow.
Every single person that's at the event's getting a free copy.
That's badass. Dude.
Yeah. We're encouraging everybody, once you're at the event, put your wallets away, right? We don't want your wallet out. There's nothing here for you to purchase. Try the products, hear from our speakers, network, your lunch is included. For us, it's, hey, just come to the party. Once you come and you show up, now you're exposed and you can leave with tools, right, in your arsenal. And whatever that is, if it's one thing, one of the biggest, I would say, starting points for me has been just the cell phone use, right? I was someone who was a scroller at night. I would scroll and YouTube shorts and playing poker live and all of this stuff right before I go to bed. And one of the biggest, I would say, shifts has just been literally taking my phone out of the bedroom I don't even charge it in the room anymore. Just through the research of the radiation, all the stuff that comes out, I don't know what to believe, but essentially just being able to calm the mind, get proper sleep. There's so much basic things that I've learned that's made such a drastic impact. And yeah, I mean, I think most people, once they experience it and hear from it, they can actually take those tools with them.
That's awesome. You talk about the phone. For me, the moment it hits 8 o'clock, I put it on sleep.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know who's texting me. And do not disturb is really funny because sometimes people break through, right? It's just really strange. I can still see it. So I put it on sleep and then I put it on my nightstand. It's too close to me, but I do use that for my alarm clock. And my wife says, you need to go get an old school alarm clock, put it on your nightstand and then charge your phone downstairs, right? Because for me, I get up at 4. Like I don't want to sleep through that alarm. But again, those are one of the things. Like the phone usage at night, it could be pretty bad. I don't scroll at night. My wife, sometimes she'll sit there and she's never on her phone. But when the kids go to bed and we're watching a show, because we like to binge a little bit of Suits at night, right? And it's great, but she'll be scrolling. I'm like, baby, you paying attention here? And she goes, but she'll scroll and she goes, oh my God, I got to put this down. For me, we're talking about health. And if we scroll on social media consistently, it could impact our mental health big time. Because I could see somebody that's doing more than me in the podcast, and I could see an article that my show wasn't included, and I can get pissed off about it, right? And those are very unhealthy things. So what I like to do as far as my health is I like to put it away at some point. And I don't really scroll at all during the day. There's moments where I'll scroll just to get a laugh or two.
Yeah.
And send my friends some messed up reels, because that's what we do. But then then it's done. Then it's done because I want to stay in my lane.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, right? Because anyone could be influenced by what's out there, and the way that the algorithms are now working is before you would follow somebody and then you would start to see their content. Now they're bringing the content to you based on what you've seen previously, right? Or based on your personality. It's getting so sharp that it's almost like a casino game where you enter your card, they know what you're doing, you're playing the slot or whatever game you're playing, they're able to control those things. So it's down to a science where how can I keep this person on our platform for as long as possible? And I think sometimes we, easily can just obliviously open it out of habit. Now you're there 15 minutes. That just affected your mood. You're going into a meeting or a conversation with your family or something. And they're like, hey, what was that about? It's like, damn, I didn't even realize that this is starting to have power and control over how I'm behaving. So on the drive over here, I was telling you, I was listening to an Audible book, and I think for me, it's just finding the patterns in anything that you're doing as it relates to health. I look at who are the people that aspire, right? A vision board. I don't know if you have a vision board or believe in them, but for me, I have a vision board, and who's on there? Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Some of these people, Rocky, when he was fighting Drago, all these people that I looked up to and that, had an impact on my life. I look at that to continue to put it into my mindset because thoughts become things.
Dude, it's so funny because you look at both of those were underdogs. Let's be very, very clear. America loves underdogs, right? If you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, they said, you have no business being in the States. You cannot be a lead. And then governor, come on. He did it all. He did it all because he stayed in his lane and he willed it to happen by taking action. And that's the thing that I want people to understand. They can go to your summit. They can listen to the speakers. They can get the book. They can try out all the vendors and all the products. But if they don't take action when they leave there, that's where the disconnect is. And at that point, they're just wasting money. How are you guys, when you guys are running the event, and I'm excited to see it, how are you guys going to encourage action post summit?
I think you're making such a great point, which I agree with you. I think most times when you go to an event or you're going to something, the present moment is, encouraging, right? You're like, man, this is awesome. I've been to some of the biggest events. But I think for next steps, there's something called accountability.
Come on.
right? So from that standpoint, you know, we have a community that we're building. It's going to be announced at the summit. We're going to encourage it. It's a free online site, but that's just a platform for people that were at the summit to stay connected.
Really cool, man.
No charge for it. It's nothing that you're going through, but there's going to be weekly check-ins, weekly essentially newsletters, but live chat, live comments. How's this going? Hey, I met you. I remember you. That accountability is everything, right? And I think most people hold themselves accountable, which is dangerous, right? Because we can lie to ourselves easily. I do it all the time. In my own voice, in my own head, sounds like me, tell myself something, and next thing you know, I'm like, man, this is you know, this was a lie. This wasn't real. I had no one to check me on that. So the more people we can bring around somebody who is serious about their health, then, you know, I think that the better the outcome is going to be. Like in anything in life. Here's one other part. I think that's one part, right? Accountability. But then the other piece is we're also looking to attract those that have self-motivation. We're not going to, you know, come across and try to say, hey, you know, we're going to hold your hand throughout this entire process with you. Not to sound brutal or anything, but our messaging is, hey, we want you to get the most out of life, whatever that looks like for you. But we have the experts that we're bringing to the table. We have the companies we're bringing to the table, the community that you're able to stay connected with, and then obviously the value, you know, from the actual 2 days. Sometimes, you know, I think no matter what you say to somebody, maybe you've experienced this, you know, they're just not going to take action on their own.
No, because people...
And then what do you do with that?
People get overwhelmed by just living life in general, whether they're married, they have children, they have a tough career. They can be inspired in that moment, and then they make excuse after excuse of why they can't do something. Like, you have to want that outcome more than you want to sleep. You know, and again, I think sleep is important. Don't get me wrong. I know sleep is important, but you can't wake up in the morning and be like, I'm not going to do it because I don't feel good. And that's one of the things that I think community is so important. You know, like that's when you're talking about building that community, having that community where people can go and have the conversations publicly on that forum. You're like, hey, here's what I'm struggling with today. Here's what I've done today. They can reach more inspiration by interacting with each other post-event. That's going to drive them forward every day. I think that's an integral part of what you're doing. I didn't know you guys were doing that.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a lot of other, you know, events that are doing that. They'll say, hey, you can join our community for 50 grand a year.
Yeah, no.
Right? You know what I'm saying, dude?
This is so that's one of the things, right? Over delivering on value.
Yeah.
I think that for anybody that is, you know, struggling with whatever that is for them. For me, it was chasing success, finding myself in a position where, you know, I genuinely felt like, you know, I was losing a part of me because my focus was elsewhere. I wasn't, you know, there's a guy, Jim Rohn.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard of any of his stuff.
He's a goat,
It's so good. But Jim Rohn talks about work harder on yourself than you do on your job, right? And he goes through this entire spiel about making, you know, yourself better. And that's going to open up the door. You made the point 10 minutes ago. It's going to open up the door for everything else in your life. And, you know, I think we all go through it at some phase where we start to put other things a priority. For some, it's a girl, right? You just start dating a girl, you know, now she becomes your world. And then 3 months pass, you blew all your money. You don't know what the heck you're doing. You know, she's, you know, now moved on or didn't work out. And you're like,
you're left with the bag, bro. You're just left.
Yeah. What am I doing? So that part of it, I think it's very common, especially in this day and age where the algorithm is teaching us or telling us how we're supposed to be. Before it was just women with the magazines in New York City and the models. And then the makeup companies, there was a huge spike. If you look at, I think it's 1992, there was an article about how the essentially these Vogue magazines started to really push out the advertising for models. There was a direct correlation with makeup products, right? Spiking in sales. Before it was that. What is it now? You know, when you go on your Instagram, what do you see? You see Ferraris, Lambos, you see this part, you see big chains, you see all of these things. And at some point, subconsciously, that can affect the way you're looking at, like, man, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
Right. Opposed to like what you're saying, which I love your approach, man, I don't even scroll really.
Yeah.
A couple laughs, but I need to focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm human. I'll go on there a little bit. You know, and like the current events recently, I'll get caught up on that, like the conspiracy theories. And I'm like, you got to stop watching this because that's taking over your feed now. People don't understand that they control their own, you control your own feed. But the thing that I love what you're saying is you're talking about, you know, Jim Rohn, work more on yourself. I firmly believe that if we put our blinders on and go dark on everything else, of course, you don't want to, you know, I have 3 children and a wife. I'm never going dark on them. That they are my priority. But in order for them to be my priority, my utmost priority has to be me. Like I have to be putting so much work into myself. What am I reading? You know, what kind of delayed gratification am I going through? Am I willing to suffer through certain points of maybe hunger, or I want that ice cream, or I want that cake, I want that fast food? Am I willing to suffer for the betterment of myself so I can give more to my show, to my guests, to my wife, to my kids, and then to my team? And then all of a sudden things start opening up and you have opportunities that you don't even realize. But here's the problem. People always want to go that quid pro quo. If I do this, what do I get? Right? So it can't be that. It's just like, I'm going to do this because I want to be the best me. And a lot of times is looking in the mirror and be like, I don't like what I see. I don't like the lack of follow through. I don't like the lack of determination or discipline. And then you fix that. And that becomes your mission every day. All of a sudden you look around, you know, in 3 to 6 months, you're like, holy shit, I can't even breathe right now because I'm so damn busy. Everything's moving in the right direction. And now I need more support.
No, I love that. And, you know, it brings me, have you ever seen the show The Chosen?
Dude, my wife and I have been talking that we need to sit down and watch that immediately.
In terms of binging, I'll tell you this. I stopped the binging since The Sopranos. I used to watch The Sopranos a lot. If you like The Sopranos,
I never watched that.
Oh, it's one of the
I'm
greatest shows.
Canceled for that. I never watched The Sopranos.
But it's all good. It's one of the greatest shows. Just from a, you know, the character. I mean, this guy, you know, played Tony is just too good. But
he looks the part too.
Yeah, he looks the part.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's believable.
My boss.
It's believable, man.
100%.
Yeah.
But The Chosen, and the reason why I bring it up is, you know, me and my girl, we binged that twice. It's such a good show. You're a Christian?
Yes, I am. I'm a believer.
It's, I mean, the way that, you know, the storyline with Jesus's disciples, time after time throughout the show, it's Jesus performing these miracles, healing the blind, healing the sick, doing this, bringing Lazarus back from the dead. And each time his disciples are around him and they're like right there. And then, you know, an episode will pass and you start to hear camaraderie. They always argue. And then they start to continue to question him. They're continuing to say, well, is that possible after he just showed a miracle? Throughout the entire show, it's people around him saying, I don't know if that's possible. He performs the miracle. Oh, yes, this was great. You're the Messiah. And then the next episode, I don't know. How is this? The fear comes. My point is, when you speak about, you know, when you're mentioning the idea of working harder on ourselves, for me, one of the biggest areas to look at is, where's my identity lied in? Is it lied in what I'm able to do? That's just personal belief, right? And I think for some, it maybe doesn't apply, and that's okay. But the correlation between, you know, willpower, which, you know, our God has given us the ability to do these things, and the reliance on Him to do the impossible, right? For me, this entire journey has been the impossible. It's all Him. I'm like, okay, I have this idea. I wrote it down. I spoke about it. Here's the lineup. Here's what I want to do. All throughout the entire process, maybe like you know, yes, we put in the work, but He's carried me and He's opened up the doors. He opened up this conversation for me to have. And for me, I just always want to give that credit, because the moment, and I've experienced this, I turn my back and I said, well, it was me, right? That pride, that human aspect that we have. I know the story of Job, and I know how he can give it to you and he can take it all away. So that's just one part where, if there is a show I encourage The Chosen for out there, it's just a good show. And that's the only show I would recommend. Obviously nothing on Netflix.
Coco Melon, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You mentioned something interesting. You're talking about, our God. And I look at things along those lines very similarly. When I built this, it was the impossible. I was a medical sales rep. Wow. I didn't have any celebrityism. I didn't have anything. I didn't have any of that. But one day it hit me. This isn't a Facebook group. This is a podcast. And I can interview all these local people about their success. And it's turned into so much more, to a point where I sometimes I pinch myself, and it's like, I get to have conversations with people like William H. Macy,
wow,
Tyrese, like all these different, amazing individuals that have done really well in their career. And the one thing that I always fall back on, people ask me, how are you doing this? And I was like, well, that's a very loaded gun question. I mean, if you want me to tell you my SOPs and my support in the background, I'm not going to do that. But really what it is, it's understanding a gift that was given to me. So this is where people kind of get messed up, right? They have a gift from our Lord and Savior, whatever that may be. For me, it was my voice and being able to be the calming voice in a storm. So once I realized that was my gift, who am I to not use the gift that God gave me? That's the ultimate act of disrespect. So for me, every day that I get to do this, it's a blessing. It's a blessing from Him to say, like, you put this in me, man. Like, this is cool. And so for me, all I do is try to keep leveraging that gift.
I love that. And I think I think you look at it this way. At some point, everybody has a gift, right? And whatever that is, it's unique to that person. I think the challenge becomes when, there's limited beliefs, saying, hey, yeah, maybe, but I'm still in fear. I'm still scared. I don't know. All of those thoughts that essentially run most people's lives, right? And that, I think that part of it, it's twofold. It's, yes, you have this gift. Yes, you can utilize it, but will you take that step to do it? But then the other person comes around and says, oh man, that was easy for you to do, because you're such a great speaker. It's like, well, let me challenge that. Yeah. What's your gift? Let's actually unpack that. So for me, there's a twofold to it. And I think, it's,
it's never easy. It's never easy for anyone, because I can go back and I can tell you to go listen to my first 10 shows and then let's watch the first 20 on YouTube. And I'll look at it and I'm like, I have no place being where I'm at right now. Like, I have no place. Like, and it's, everybody talks about going back and looking at their old content. Like, oh man, if you don't cringe, you're not doing something. You're not doing it right.
You're not doing enough.
And I'll look at it and I'll be like, dude, it was bad. But again, it's practice, it's development, and it's action.
Yeah. Persistence.
Right? Yes.
One of the biggest lines, there's a movie, The Founder, with the McDonald's franchise. And he was listening to that tape over and over and over again at the beginning of the movie, where it was like persistence. And I think that's where most people fail, is when it starts to get tough or things don't seem like it's working out. That's what's going to differentiate continuing, it getting bigger, it growing, which offers more opportunities to others, or just shifting directions and saying, well, I tried it, didn't work, let's move on. So,
you know what I find interesting is when people, and myself, it was December of last year, November and December. And I was like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I may have to go back to corporate America, because it's hard to monetize a show. It's hard to monetize air, right? If you don't have the support, you don't understand how to do it. But what I chose to do was dial in on me, right? Like, really work hard on me. And I chose to take that moment of like extreme emotional and financial pain and just wear it. Just put my face right into it and not obsess and be depressed about it. Like, this is where I'm at. Why am I going through this? You know, and what gift is there in that? And that's where I spent my time. I go, thanking him for the struggle. Obviously, I'm not ready for the next level because you're showing me right now I'm not. So whatever you're showing me, I'm going to take and I'm going to build on this. And so when I talk to people, you know, and they're struggling, I go, think of how it's going to serve you instead of how it's defeating you. Because if you sit there in the defeat, you will never grow from it. And then you're going to quit. And the next venture you go on, you're going to hit the same roadblock. There's going to be those times where you're under extreme amount of stress and can't move any direction and you're stuck. It's because you're not looking at it as a gift. And I truly feel those moments, the goal isn't the happy part, dude. When you reach that thing, that's not the happiness. Everybody talks about, and it's true. And it's become a cliche, but it's a believable one. And it's true, is you become happy in the pursuit of that thing. So all the hard points, all the struggle, all the tears, you know, even the happiness in between mixed in, embrace it because that's the gift.
It's the gift. And then even from when you start to look from a macro side of it, you think about what that testimony does for others, right? So it's one, where is this going to be able to get me in my place? Okay, this served me well, but then it served my family. Okay, that's great. And then it served my community. That's great. But all of the lives that one thing can touch, and that's really where like the fire comes from, right? And if you don't have that fire, that bigger purpose, that big thing that you're shooting for, saying, you know, this is where I'm, you know, what I'm shooting for. And then others will say, man, that's crazy. How can you even think that way? How can you have, you know, the person who's, you know, going to be coming here and this big thing? It's like, well, look, that's your fear. You can't put your fear on me. That you think you can't do that. That's great for you. That's not the way I think. Right. So I think that part of it also opens doors for others to draw some inspiration. Like for me, all of the content and books and seminars and all of the things that I've experienced and listened to, you know, has helped me so much. I'm not someone who's like, oh, I come up with everything. Like, no, I stole everything just from the standpoint of, yes, I want to learn more. You start to become addicted to the information because it's like, man, if this guy did it, how can I do it? And sometimes there's a different perspective on it with those that say, well, he did it, I can't do it, so I'm going to judge this person and say something bad about him.
Limiting beliefs, man. I have them. You have them. Kyle has them. We all have them. Every person on the planet has a limiting belief. You can either listen to it or you can work past it, because those that stay in it never accomplish anything. The ones that push past it and embrace it and want to build on that, those are the ones that are successful. Dude, limiting beliefs, man. I've been in rooms with freaking Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about that one really quickly. I live in Florida and I'm out in California to go film with Jay Leno. I look at that and on face value, I'm not supposed to be in this room. Am I in the right room here? Right, I'm in his garage. I'm walking around looking at all the cars, all the Harley Davidsons. I'm like, dude, am I ready for this? And that was the most anxietizing moment for me interviewing him. But then I sit there and I say, well, no. Nothing happens by accident. I'm here in this building on camera with him for a reason, and I'm going to execute it. Right. And for me, that was a big moment because the aspect of belonging, Joseph, like that's the limiting belief, right? It's like, am I in the right room? You have to get through it. Right. But those moments right there, that made me a better interviewer. It honed my craft. I mean, not to mention that Jamie Kennedy did the same trip, right? And a producer and a director and a writer and then another comedian. Like that trip in the middle, right in the smack dab middle of the year in June, built me for months to come and years to come. And then I build on every single conversation to overcome that limiting belief?
Yeah, I think it's so important to recognize it, or you get called out for it. See, for me, sometimes I think that's why it goes back to the point of who's in your ear and who are you around. Because a limited belief is only a limited belief until you label it as such, right? And if there's no one there to check you, and if the language that I'm using is fear, timid, I don't know, I'm not sure, not confident, saying, no, we're going to make it happen, or it's going to happen. I need someone there to check me for that. I've always needed that because, again, it's in my own head. How do I know? And if I'm doing journaling, and if I'm speaking, to somebody that is a mentor figure, then I'm able to at least get those things out.
Yeah.
But I think most people, one, there's a fear in saying, damn, if I say this to this person, he's going to judge. Like if I tell you, man, you're probably going to look at me away. It's going to, affect this relationship. And then also, others may judge, opposed to, okay, someone I'm close to me. Hey, listen, what do you think? No, check me on that, right? Hey, that's a limited belief.
Yeah. The other thing too, that I found that works, and this is tying back, excuse me, to your event in the community. I started listening to the voices that were telling me the story that I wanted to hear. And I don't want people to think that I'm not listening to the other voices that are telling me that I have things to improve upon. I respond to almost every single comment. If someone lights me up on YouTube, if someone lights me up on Spotify saying, I love the show, but the host keeps saying, like I said, hey, thank you for that. I didn't notice it, but thank you. I'm going to get better at it. And I'll take that information and I'll get better. Right. And I'll focus on it a little bit, but I'll focus on the Patrick Dearborns, the unifiers, the ones that tell me what they truly see. And I think that's also a very important thing. It's like, you have to know who to listen to. You can't listen to the people beating you up all the time.
Oh, not at all.
You got to listen to the empowering folks that want to unify, that want to drive change, that want to drive some more damn love into the society.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that goes back to the original point of who's around you, right? And choosing, because, birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah,
right?
that's
You've
a good
heard of
one,
that.
yeah.
So I've always been one that has recognized if someone's around me and they're gossiping about somebody, like for me, that's a quick checkpoint. I won't even say it to that person. I won't even tell them. I'll just, okay, got it. You're in that camp. All good. Don't hate you. But I just know where this is going to lie, because that's not the time that I'm on. This person says this, or this person, or if you're telling me about somebody or talking to me about somebody, and like, how am I not going to think that you're going to, when I'm not there? Right.
Yeah,
so I think
that's
being
a hard
aware,
one. Yeah.
being aware of those things is also an aspect of, just choosing the right people around you that are on the same, that have the same mindset or the same values. If someone doesn't hold the same values, I'm not spending my time with that person. It's going to, they'll bring me down quicker than I can build them up.
Absolutely, dude.
Right. And that's that part. So
it's funny. You know what my response is always is when something like that happens and I get hit, because that'll happen. That'll happen, from your girl, from my wife, from a good friend, a business partner, or just anybody. It's like, I always say, hey, that's crazy. Hey man, listen, I'm in the middle of something. I got to get back to it. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Like I always cut it short, but I'm respectful about it. I don't go, hey man, I don't want to hear that crap. I go, hey, wow, that's crazy. Hey, I'm in the middle of something. I wanted to get your call, or, I didn't want to ignore you, but I need to shift my focus back to this because it protects me. Right. And I'm not people pleasing. I'm not being rude, but I'm telling them, like, I have to get back to it. And if that happens enough, like, I can't go to Shawn for that.
Yeah.
Right. And so, listen,
or they pick up on it.
Yeah.
They'll just know and be like, damn. Cause they want someone they can talk to. So they'll just probably not call you when that comes up.
Well, cause again, it's about what you put out there. Right. And eventually people start to catch on to who you are and what you're putting out. Like, I can't go to Joseph for that because he's not even going to hear me. There's no point. And I don't want to infect him with that energy. In closing, man, why don't talk, let any final things that you want to say about the MoreLife Biohacking Summit, man?
Yeah. So I think, well, first I appreciate you having me on.
Dude,
you have
pleasure.
A packed schedule. You're back to back. The studio's great. You know, my man over there is great. He's killing it.
He's a dude, man.
He's a dude. So
you know, he's one of my favorite. You know, honestly, like he's a sidetrack because he knows I love him, but you know, the audience has gotten really comfortable with me edifying people when Kyle is one of my favorite things about coming to work every day because he's excitable. He's a hard worker. He's super young, but super knowledgeable and just always driven to do the best job he can. And so I love you, buddy. I love you, man. It's my guy. But yeah, man, like I appreciate you for saying that. Like, and you're more than welcome to stick around and watch the next filming. I don't care.
No, I appreciate you having me. And just in terms of the summit, I think everyone that's coming, you know, you're in for a surprise. I'll tell you that. We have something special lined up. Nobody knows. The only person who knows is a special agent Secret Service that I spoke to yesterday. And I'm meeting her tomorrow for obviously Laura. But there's a special guest we're bringing for her birthday. Everybody knows who this is, so we're really excited. And I think, you know, it goes with the theme. This summit is truly about getting the most out of life, whatever that is for you. But, you know, your health, your body, your mindset, even your spirituality, we have an opening message, and, you know, we're going to stand by it. And then we're going to be announcing something very interesting in March that's going to be taking place for some people.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
you have another event impending in March.
It's not an event. It's a little bit different.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. We'll be speaking about that at the end of this summit.
I love it, dude.
Yeah, but we're excited. You know, we're grateful to partner with our speakers. Super blessed, you know, to even have the opportunity. And for those that are coming, you know, you're in for a show. It's going to be some interesting things. And then you as well, you and your wife, if you guys are able to make it, love to have you guys.
It'll be me solo. She'll be with the kiddos, but it'll be me solo. I think Saturday I'll be able to pull that off.
Yeah, Saturday's a big day.
Big day, man. Big day.
Right,
Sunday's church. So MoreLife Biohacking Summit. Go check it out. My man, Joseph Rivera. Until next time, stay determined.